Tommaso Ciampa seems to be the last remnant of the old NXT as he retained his championship over Bron Breakker at Halloween Havoc. Having said that, he's the only person that did retain his championship. I'm Ryan Joy and I run MinutesToBellTime.com, a website and database tracking pro wrestling from around the world. On today's show, we're going to cover down on last night's episode of Halloween Havoc. We also have some of the major headlines in wrestling. John Smith is in the house, and this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for October 26, 2021, where we sort through all the bullshit in wrestling news to find you the truth. All right, John, here we are. We're back. It's I last spoke to you, and then I took a 4-day vacation. When I come back, basically Impact has turned over their entire championship. All their championships changed hands, and then NXT I watched last night, and they changed all their titles too. So I don't know what's going on,
except for the one that really mattered. And you know what? Let me throw this over my shoulder right now because I am still the NXT guru. Okay, you all took Raquel, I took Mandy. You all took Bron Breakker, I took Tommaso. So it's not like I didn't go perfect, but you know what? Nobody saw Imperium winning yesterday. So
no, everybody thought Misk would win that match, and they didn't. So
yeah.
All right. So yes, I went on vacation for 4 days. I went on the Jericho cruise. I was gone from Thursday to Monday. While I was gone, Deonna Purrazzo lost the Knockouts Championship to Mickie James. Jordynne Grace won the new Digital Media Championship. Havoc and Rosemary lost the Knockouts Tag titles to The Inspiration. Trey Miguel won the vacant X Division Championship. Christian Cage lost the Impact World Championship to Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander lost the Impact World Championship to Moose. Xavier Woods won King of the Ring. Zelina Vega is the Queen of the Ring, or whatever they call it. And even the Second Gear crew in GCW lost their tag titles to the Briscoes. So the landscape has totally changed. I watched one live show. The first one I watched back is Halloween Havoc. Io Shirai and Zoe Stark lose the tag titles to Toxic Attraction. MSK loses the tag titles to Imperium. Raquel Gonzalez loses the NXT Championship to Mandy Rose. And as mentioned, lead story, Bron Breakker doesn't get the job done. He's the one guy I picked to take the championship, and he doesn't get it done. So what the heck?
You know what? He didn't come out looking weak though. You know, it took a lot to put him down. He kicked out of the Willow's Bell after the DDT on the concrete. You know, then he had to take 3 of those last shot knees or whatever he calls them, and then another Willow's Bell, and he got busted open the hard way in the process, it seemed. So you know what? He comes out even stronger than he was before the match, even though he lost, in my opinion.
You know, it's funny. On the Minutes to Bell Time conversation thread in the group last night, there was a little bit back and forth talking about, again, why they don't just call him Steiner, because they opened the show and Chucky from Child's Play or whatever the new show is that they have, Chucky calls him the puppy-faced gremlin. He comes out with a siren as if he's Scott Steiner. He did a Frankensteiner last night, and they called it that. They didn't call it a Hurricane Rana. So everybody knows, they know, and
he was doing the dog bark too.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Oh, part of his theme, it starts with the siren, and then when it kicks into the music, there's like the barking in the back too.
Yeah.
So they've done a lot to for like an homage, so to speak, but they just stopped short of calling him Steiner. I guess that's only because they don't have the name trademarked.
Oh, that's not their real last name. I was not aware.
Oh no, the real last name, believe it, is Rex Steiner. So I don't know why WWE has stops just short of calling Bron Breakker Steiner, but
right, it's
been a point of contention.
I gotta ask, what did you think when Tommaso Ciampa came out with that war paint on? Did you change your mind?
I did a little bit. I was like, oh no, maybe he's dressed to fight. Maybe he's gonna get it done, and he did. So, but I don't know. I thought for sure. I called it 3 weeks ago that I thought he was gonna win the championship. But I also said he'll be on the main roster by the time we get to WrestleMania. So maybe this loss will be on SmackDown, Friday. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, But I mentioned all those other title changes too, and we should talk about this. MSK losing those tag titles to Imperium. They talked about Walter in a promo earlier in the night. I thought he might come out. Gary mentioned that last night on EWP that Walter might make an appearance to help them win. And they did. But they're kind of old guard too, though. So it's kind of weird that, Imperium picked those titles up when all the titles changed. It wasn't like they all went to the new crew.
Yeah, it's very curious. Maybe they want to transition them to a face tag team, and they didn't want to have MSK versus a face. But still, they won clean. It was a lumberjack match, so clean is whatever anyway. But no chicanery. So where are they going with this? I'm very confused about it.
Also, those lumberjacks were not good lumberjacks.
Didn't they leave?
Well, all four guys come out of the ring and they're supposed to beat him up and throw him back in. Instead, they part so somebody can do a dive, they get out of the way. And then there was one spot where Wentz, I can't think of Carter, I think his name is Nash Carter.
Yeah, Nash Carter.
Yeah, he went to do a cutter off the top rope. And the only reason you would ever do a move like that is if you had people to catch you. And again, they parted and let him fall flat on his back. Ground.
Yeah, so, they need to have lumberjack class at the PC this week.
Yes. So we had that. Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, reluctant tag team partners to begin with. They lose their tag titles to Toxic Attraction in the opener. This was a ladder match. There's a lot of missed spots here, but in the end, you got Gigi and Gacy at the top of the ladder. Now, it's interesting. You only have to apparently unstrap one belt to win the match.
Yeah, apparently. But let's not gloss over the fact that Io Shirai almost freaking died.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only reason she didn't is because she's a freaking awesome wrestler / athlete. She was not falling the right way at all. But then if you look last second, she lands flat on her back on that ladder. She totally protected herself, even though she was about to die.
Yeah, I think most of the other women in that match would have been severely hurt if they took that fall.
Gigi would have went through the ladder like a pencil.
Yeah. So apparently, though, she was okay after the show. She was, checked out backstage, and she's okay. So good for Io. Yeah.
Do you think that was supposed to be a breakable ladder and it wasn't, or do you think she just wasn't heavy enough to break the ladder?
Maybe it might be. I would think that they'd want the ladder to break, but she also didn't hit it in such a way that she would land on it with all of her weight, like you mentioned. She kind of hit it at the back of her shoulders, and then she kind of rolled off. So
yeah.
Raquel Gonzalez losing to Mandy Rose. That one bugs me. I know you picked it. You picked it right out. You said, yep, Mandy Rose. She's the one who's going to take down Raquel. And I should have known when we started talking on EWP last night about Dakota Kai being potentially the person who's getting rebranded, or the reflection of the moon type of comment or whatever she made. But she was the masked person. And she did. That's the only way Raquel was going to lose that belt, and I guess that's how it came about. So
so now we're going to get the blood feud where Dakota gets to come out on top, finally, and then that it's going to be nice to have a women's champion that's not dominant and feared and can't lose. It's going to be nice to have like a cheating like a honky tonk man type of champion as the women's champion for once. We always just you look back through the lineage, I'm not going to name them all. The only one you could pick out is Ember Moon that wasn't this dominant, feared women's champion. So I like to see something different.
Right, your Shayna Baszler's and your Asuka, the long title reigns, and then Raquel too. Kairi Sane, I'll throw her out there as somebody who didn't hold the title very long, but
right.
But you're right. We'll see. Maybe it's a transition too. Maybe Mandy doesn't hold it long. Maybe they're going to go to another new face. Maybe Lash Legend will be champion before we know it. Who knows? Solo Sikoa making his debut on the show last night. He looks just like Jimmy and Jay Uso, and the crowd chanted Uso at him. So he beat up LA Knight stepped away, but he beat up what's his name? Other guy.
Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller, yeah.
I have a feeling that Grayson Waller was supposed to be his opponent, and they had to call the audible with the whole LA Knight being late, and they threw Grayson Waller in as the host, and then just had him get beat up instead. Because we were supposed to have a match, weren't we? Didn't they advertise a match?
Yeah, they said he was going to debut.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think people considered him to be in action, but I guess that was close enough. So whatever, we also had Joe Gacy defeated Malik Blade, and Roderick Strong defeated Odyssey Jones. Those were unadvertised matches that we got. It's also curious again, Roderick Strong beating Odyssey Jones. I felt like Jones was going to be the guy one of the guys that they were really, really pushing hard. I didn't think he'd be losing so quickly, especially to Roddy, who is old guard. So,
was it a clean finish? I didn't get to see the end of that match, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
Well, it was clean. There wasn't like a weapon or anything, but one of the Creeds or both of the Creeds jumped up on the apron, so Odyssey had to get distracted and stuff. So. I guess
it's probably just going to be a long-term thing. It's probably Odyssey's first major feud is him versus the whole Diamond Mine. Maybe he'll even beat them 1-on-4 at one point.
Yeah, okay.
Or 1-on-3. I mean, 1-on-3.
Yeah, on the subject of Diamond Mine, Kushida and Ike Manjiro dressed up as the Creed brothers partway through the show. And I wouldn't have known if they didn't make some reference to it because I don't think I've seen the Creed brothers with headgear, or do they have headgear? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think I would know if they did. It's like Josh Alexander wears headgear. Like we know it, Yeah.
I think they might have come out with it once and maybe then they dropped it, but I don't know. But anyway, Kushida and Jiro dressing up as the Creed brothers was kind of comical. So we had that. And then for the second year in a row, we had Dexter's Haunted House. But this time it was a lot more campy because, it's hard to, last year was campy too with Cameron Grimes running through and getting attacked by zombies throughout the entire house. But I think the tone was a little different. Like last year, they were a lot more creepy and tried to be kind of scary with it or whatever. And this year it was just like comedy the entire time with Johnny Gargano and Dexter watching from cameras and stuff. So you got kind of like the behind the scenes view with those guys.
Yeah, line of the night. It was, I whole-owned the crap out of this place.
Cameras everywhere. And then Dexter Lumis said, yeah, exactly.
Thumbs up.
Nothing. He put his
For those of you on audio, I just gave a thumbs up.
There you go. Next week on NXT, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are going to face off against Gargano and Lumis in a tag team match, playa. So we have that lined up. Also, Tony D'Angelo will be on Lashing Out with Lash Legend. I wonder if she's still looking for Mark the producer. And then Cameron Grimes will enter Duke Hudson's poker room. Apparently, Duke Hudson's going to try to take all of Cameron Grimes' money. So.
He will be successful in taking a nice chunk of it, I think. And Cameron Grimes will, Ted DiBiase, but about him instead.
Duke Hudson.
About Duke Hudson, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Cameron Grimes will also find himself a lady friend in the poker room because that's all he wants now. He can't find, money can't buy love, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure he might. He's got cocktail waitresses that'll be walking around or something.
There you go. So overall, what do you think of Halloween Havoc? It's the first big show from NXT 2.0.
I thought all the matches were really good, except for the two throwaways that we got that weren't even scheduled. Those were just standard everyday NXT matches. But the 4 championship matches all 4 were championship matches, right?
Yeah. I think, yeah. We had 6 overall and 4 championship matches. Yep.
Yeah, the 4 championship matches were all solid. Which one's my favorite? I would probably say the Imperium MSK. They had the most solid match, and they nobody saw the ending coming. So good on them. And besides the Lumberjacks, they left much to be desired, but the action in the ring was great, and nice long run for MSK. They deserved it, and now they can move on and show us what they got without the belts on them.
Yeah. I think for me, I would give the match of the night to Breakker and Ciampa. Breakker, I think, well, like you mentioned, like he's still strong after the loss. I think so too, and I think he's just a matter of time, right? He didn't get it done tonight, but I think he will pretty soon. And he seems to have built a little following, and they're putting a lot of effort behind the homage to the Steiner brothers without actually naming it as such. So I like it. And he got busted open the hard way. Like you said, a little color in the match. That's rare for an NXT show. So
yeah.
All right. Well, when we get back, we've got the whole WWE pay-per-view schedule for the whole next year. So stick with us, and we're going to play a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. I promise it's coming. It just takes a second to load the commercial. If you love the Daily Wrestling News Show, then I want to tell you how you can support us. First, check out bodyslamclothes.com. You can get a variety of shirts for just $20, and all of them come in the super soft style, and the price you see includes all sizes and shipping. Get 10% off 2 or more shirts with the promo code SHIRTS10. Go to bodyslamclothes.com right now to check it out. And join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Friday nights for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports, and the show kicks off each Friday at 7 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And each Tuesday, Al Carl hosts the Essential Wrestling Podcast alongside John Smith, myself, John DeConnie, and Gary Mahaffey. It's another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Here are our analysis on who we think is going to win the week's matches. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. Pro Wrestling Pick'em. It's a place where you can join or host a Pick'em League to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And the Body Slam Brigade newsletter, currently going out to over 4,200 people each Friday. It consolidates all the top stories in professional wrestling into a quick-to-read email written by me for you for free. Sign up now at BodySlamBrigade.com. And of course, this show, the Daily Wrestling News Show. We're here every day, Monday through Thursday, and occasionally on Friday. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or watch us live on Facebook and YouTube at 10 a.m. This is the Daily Wrestling News Show, and we thank you for your support. Okay, into the headlines portion of the show, and John Smith, WWE has released their Smackdown ring announcer, Greg Hamilton. Greg Hamilton, to me, I probably was most notoriety for being the guy who introduced Shane McMahon as the best in the world.
Okay, and was he the current announcer that, like, from this past SmackDown?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so do we know whose replacement's going to be?
No, we have no idea. And he was even in Saudi Arabia. So he took the big long trip, came home, got his pink slip.
Hey, maybe he did something we don't know about if it was that sudden,
Yeah. The things that have come up recently is I don't know if it's related, but he was threatening rapper West Side Gun on Instagram for sampling his voice in his rap song. And he essentially kept saying that the WWE lawyers are going to be coming after him and stuff like that. So he was kind of using the company to advance a vendetta. So it could be that WWE hated that.
my dad could beat your dad up. It's like, no, you're punished now. Don't say that.
Yeah. Well, who knows? WWE may have given West Side Gun permission to use Greg Hamilton's voice. So
well, I'd like to see the girl from NXT replace him.
She's great, isn't she?
She is awesome. Yeah, she was like made to do that job.
Yep. Was she doing Halloween Havoc last night? I don't even remember.
Good question.
I don't know if she was. I wonder because usually when she is, it's very noticeable. Like you don't miss her. And now I'm saying that maybe we missed her, but maybe she did get called up. So
yeah, I'm checking it out right now, actually.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I will let everybody know that WWE filed for a new trademark, and it's for a familiar name, Undertaker. Believe it or not, they didn't own Undertaker all these years. Undertaker debuted in 1990 for WWE, and they're filing for the trademark here in 2021, almost 31 years later. So,
yeah, that's curious to me. Maybe they owned it and they had to reapply.
there is a situation where, like, when you trademark things, you trademark them for certain.
I think it's like 25
products.
years.
Yeah.
So
well, you trademark for certain product groupings too. So, this was for merchandise and stuff like that. Maybe they owned it for other things, like,
gotcha.
I don't know, carrying people to the grave or something. So, also, WWE started advertising Walter for their Smackdown UK tour, which is funny because last night I was on the Essential Wrestling podcast. I was giving Gary a hard time. I was asking him where the F was Walter. So I guess we know now he was getting ready for his Smackdown tour in the UK. I don't know if that means that he'll be touring with Smackdown when they return to the States or anything, but he's over there and he's a big name in the UK, so I guess they're going to use him there.
Hey, we could always hope.
Yeah. Well, it would be interesting. The person I haven't seen them advertised that would be interesting is Davey Boy Smith Jr., because they've got him under contract. They used him in one dark match. I thought that he might get drafted, but he's kind of like missing in action. He's in like wrestling purgatory right now.
So, wasn't he in WWE like a long time ago too?
Yeah. That's where that's probably where he got his most fame. And then he went on, did Independence. He was a big star in Major League Wrestling, and he actually was a tag team partner of Lance Archer in New Japan. They were the Killer Elite Squad as part of Suzuki-gun. So
yeah, that's all you got to do is like take two adjectives and put them together in Japan. We're the Killer Elite Squad.
There you go.
and yes, Alicia Taylor was announcing last night. We're just so used to her, we didn't notice.
Darn it. Well, maybe she'll be. Where's SmackDown tomorrow or Friday night? I don't know. I'm sure she can get there from Orlando. Okay, and then WWE announced recently their 2022 pay-per-view schedule, and it includes a Labor Day show that may or may not go head-to-head with All Out. So here's what we have so far. January 1st, day one from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. January 29th, Royal Rumble at the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis. April 2nd and April 3rd, WrestleMania at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. So WrestleMania is confirmed as a two-night event. May 8th, pay-per-view at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. June 5th, a pay-per-view at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. July 2nd, Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. July 30th, SummerSlam at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville. September 3rd or September 4th, that's Labor Day weekend. It's a pay-per-view at a TBD location. And then Survivor Series, November 26th at the TD Garden in Boston. So, full lineup there, John. The thing that you pointed out right away is what's SummerSlam doing in July?
SummerSlam is always like a birthday celebration for me. My birthday is August 19th. So if you look at the history, they've probably had like 3 or 4 of them on my birthday. It's always like right around there. So yeah, it's very curious. This is 3 weeks early at least. Sometimes they even do it like on the 29th or 30th of August.
Yep. There's a few months missing too. Like there's no February, there's no March. Now Royal Rumble is January 29th. So it's like really like at the very end of January. And then WrestleMania is April 2nd, so it's at the very beginning of April. And when I believe several news outlets reached out to WWE, and they kind of confirmed that they're going to be in Saudi in February and October, so that kind of gives them their pay-per-view in those months. So you're missing a March.
Yeah, we might get a little like Road to WrestleMania thing pay-per-view a few weeks beforehand or a month beforehand to set up like the other title match. For the non-Rumble match.
WrestleMania pre-lash.
Or Royal Rumble backlash.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the gall of them to list Sunday, May 8th as pay-per-view unnamed when we know it's going to be WrestleMania backlash. Come on. And then I mentioned the pay-per-view Sunday, either Saturday, September 3rd or Sunday, September 4th. That's Labor Day weekend. AEW would typically run the Sunday show. So it'll be interesting to see whether WWE decides to go head to head, or they decide to run the same weekend in a different place, or they could do the real screw job and run in the same city.
That would be unbelievable.
Same city, different night.
Yeah. Same city, different night.
Yeah, if they did if WWE did Saturday and AEW did Sunday, or even vice versa, or God forbid they do the same night in the same market. I don't think that'll be good for anybody. So
if they did the same day as each other, I think it wouldn't serve either of them well. Neither. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I think it would serve AEW worse because you have to pay $55-$60 to watch that show, and we're already all paying for the Peacock network, so we might even half of AEW's truthers might say, you know what, I'll find it for free tomorrow and I'll watch WWE tonight since I'm already paying for it. So
yeah, that is the risk. So
yeah,
I don't know. It'd be interesting to me if they ran the same market, because a lot of people go in and they go in for the whole weekend, and they're this past year there was a whole lot of independents that were running starting on Thursday. So because at AEW this year they did Wednesday Chicago, Friday Chicago, and then this Sunday they did their all out show in Chicago. So there was independents that were scattered all around that schedule. So now maybe throw a WWE show in there too, and you've really got a whole week of stuff.
Yeah, and then you got Raw on Monday night, and that's Labor Day, so people are off. So
Yep, good point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. New Japan announced a new YouTube series that will mostly be news and highlights, but it'll also include one exclusive match, and that show debuts on November 1st. So add one more show to the rotation.
Yeah, at least it's just one match, so you just have to watch 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on what it is.
Exactly. That's the hope anyway. All right, tonight
we love wrestling so much, but then we complain that there's more wrestling to watch because it's just it's become a job. Even though we do this, it's become a job just to watch it,
to get it all in. I know.
Yeah.
So tonight, the pre-show, as I always call it, for Dynamite is Major League Wrestling. They have starting at 7:00 on YouTube their show, and they have 2 Opera Cup matches. It's TJP versus Alex Shelley, which should be a great match. And then Bobby Fish versus Lee Moriarty, which we actually saw on Dynamite not that long ago. So it'd be interesting to see if not Dynamite, it was the buy-in for Rampage. It'll be interesting to see if Lee Moriarty gets the win here on this show. So,
wait, what show is this? Is this AEW?
MLW Fusion.
Oh, MLW. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that TJP was in MLW.
Yes, TJP has been, he's a mainstay there. He's often wrestles there. So he's a really busy guy because he wrestles frequently for Impact, frequently for Major League Wrestling, and frequently for New Japan. So because he's an LA dojo guy. He was trained in New Japan. So yeah, he's
still a young kid too. So get it all in while you can. You don't want to be working like this when you're 40. Work like this when you're in your mid-20s.
Oh, he's not in his mid-20s.
TJP?
Yeah, no, he's in his upper 30s actually.
No way, really?
Yeah,
I thought it was super young when he won the Cruiserweight Championship in WWE.
It's kind of the opposite. He is born September 3rd, 1984.
Really?
So he's our age.
Yeah. Holy crap. Okay, never mind. All right, do it while you're still in good shape. Then I'll modify my statement.
So the story was actually kind of like he was a 12 or 15 year veteran at the time, and he'd been working since he was 18 or whatever. So maybe that's where
maybe I thought that he was 18.
Yeah,
because he still looked super young, even though he was the same age as me.
Yeah. So AEW Dynamite tonight back in their normal slot, so you don't have to go shopping around on the weekend to try to find them. Sammy Guevara is going to be defending the TNT Championship against Ethan Page. CM Punk versus Bobby Fish. The Dark Order versus the Elite in a 8-man tag. TBS Championship Tournament. Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida. So we'll see if Shida can get her 50th win. World Title Eliminator Tournament continues with Jon Moxley versus Preston Vance of the Dark Order, and Maxwell Jacob Friedman will be in action. So there is your lineup.
Yeah, pretty stacked show tonight.
Yeah, what is that? 6 matches? Yep. Yeah, 6. With a championship match and 2 tournament matches. So that's pretty good. Yep. Should be a good night of wrestling.
Yeah, I haven't watched AEW live in a while because they haven't been on Wednesdays, so I haven't been
it's-
able to watch it on Saturday nights. Or
I'm glad
Friday.
they're back in their slot. Yeah, that Saturday night stuff is brutal. It's brutal on them too. I mean, the rating sucks, and the show it sucks. Pulls a lot of energy out of the show too. So
even the Friday night slot is kind of brutal.
Well, Friday night's tough for me. Like by the time you get there, you've already watched SmackDown for 2 hours, and you're kind of like sleeping because you did the whole work week. So
Yeah.
So I get that for sure. So I'm excited to have them back in their spot. So, John, any words of advice this morning?
I do have a bit of self-serving advice for all you PWP fans out there that are on our website. When it comes to NXT shows, listen to this guy. This is the guy who knows NXT 1.0, 2.0, 5.0. For the rest of my life, I'll be the NXT guru. I know I was talking bad about it yesterday. I just wanted to be the 1.0 guru, but they did me right yesterday by keeping the title on Ciampa. And man, I picked right with the Mandy thing. I don't think that she needed to win it, but listen to me when it comes to NXT picks.
Oh, Bron Breakker will probably win the championship next week in a rematch. NXT Halloween Havoc Backlash next week. Bron Breakker. All right. Well, for John, I am Ryan. We will see you tomorrow.